Story 1. This happened to me. As a night manager at a 24/7 Taco Bell, I'd seen it all. The late-night crowd was a special breed, and I prided myself on knowing my regulars, their quirks, and their orders. From the insomniac studying for exams to the graveyard shift workers grabbing a quick bite, they were all part of my world. The silence between orders was often broken only by the hum of the fryers and the distant city sounds. I thought I'd become immune to the strangeness of the witching hour. You hear things, see things, but mostly you just serve tacos. My routine was a comfort, a shield against the quiet madness of the night. I'd learned to anticipate every order, every quirky request. It was a rhythm, a dance I knew well. Nothing truly surprised me anymore, or so I believed, until that one night changed everything. The air always felt different after 2 a.m., a heavy, expectant silence. It was the time when the truly unique customers appeared, but none prepared me for what was about to pull into my lane. I remember the distinct rumble first. It wasn't the roar of a modern engine. This was a deeper, older sound, like a forgotten memory stirring awake. Then I saw it pulling slowly into the drive-thru. It was an antique car, perfectly preserved, a relic from another era. Its chrome glinted faintly under the sodium lights, and it moved with an almost unnatural grace, eerily silent as it stopped. My eyes were drawn to the driver. A figure, gaunt and still, sat behind the wheel. Its face was pale, almost translucent, and its eyes, dark and unblinking, stared straight ahead, not at the menu. A strange, unsettling unease crept over me. This wasn't a regular. This wasn't even a human. My gut screamed something was wrong, but my training kicked in. "Welcome to Taco Bell," I said, my voice wavering slightly. No response, just that silent, unblinking stare from the driver. The air grew colder, even inside the warm booth. I repeated the greeting, a little louder this time, trying to shake off the growing dread. Still nothing. The silence from the car was absolute, unnerving. It felt like a void had opened up in my drive-thru. I could feel the hairs on my arms stand on end, a primal instinct kicking in. After what felt like an eternity, the car's engine gave another low rumble. Without an order, without a word, it slowly pulled away from the speaker, moving with the same silent grace it arrived with. I watched it disappear into the night, my heart pounding. Was it a prank? Someone trying to spook the night crew? I tried to rationalize it, but the image of that gaunt driver wouldn't leave my mind. I checked the security footage, expecting a laugh, but the camera feed from the drive-thru was strangely glitched, a static-filled blur where the car should have been. My unease deepened. The chill lingered, a cold spot in the air around the drive-thru speaker. I told myself it was just a strange customer, a one-off, but deep down I knew that wasn't the end of it. This was different. A few nights later, around the same time, the rumble returned. My stomach dropped. I recognized the sound instantly. The antique car was back, pulling into the drive-thru lane, a phantom in the night. My crew exchanged nervous glances. They hadn't seen it last time, but the story had spread. Now they saw it too, the perfectly preserved relic and its silent, unmoving driver. Again, no order, just the unsettling presence, the unblinking gaze fixed somewhere beyond me. It felt like it was waiting, observing, a predator biding its time. The silence was deafening. The car became a regular fixture of my late-night shifts, always appearing at the darkest hour. Its visits were brief, silent, and always left a lingering coldness in their wake. The entire crew started feeling it. A pervasive chill settled over the drive-thru area, even on warm nights. Whispers of the ghost car started circulating, half joking, half terrified. The feeling of being watched became constant, not just when the car was there, but even during the quiet stretches. It felt like an invisible presence had taken root in our restaurant. I tried to get better security footage, hoping to identify the driver to find some logical explanation. But every time, the camera feed would scramble or simply go blank during its visits. My crew became increasingly unnerved. Some asked for transfers, others just stopped showing up. I couldn't blame them. The dread was palpable, a heavy weight in the air. I tried to reassure them, but my own conviction was crumbling. Every silent visit, every corrupted video chipped away at my sanity. I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. The car wasn't just a customer anymore, it was a phenomenon, a terrifying symbol of something unknown. It was coming for something, and I feared I was about to find out what. One particularly cold and foggy night, the car arrived. The fog swirled around it, making it seem even more ethereal. I braced myself, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. I leaned into the speaker, my voice barely a whisper. "Can I help you?" I asked, dreading the usual silence. But this time, a sound came back, a voice that turned my blood to ice. It was dry, ancient, like leaves rustling in a forgotten graveyard. It was barely audible, a rasping whisper that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the night itself. The voice asked for a bell beefer. My mind reeled. The bell beefer? That item had been discontinued decades ago, long before I even started working here. It was a relic of Taco Bell's past. "I'm sorry," I stammered, my voice cracking. We don't have that anymore. It was discontinued a long time ago." The words felt like a death sentence as they left my lips. The silence that followed was heavier than before, suffocating. Then, the driver's gaze intensified through the windshield, burning into me with an otherworldly intensity. It was pure, unadulterated menace. I felt an unspoken threat, a chilling promise of consequences if I refused. It wasn't just a discontinued meal, it was a demand, and I had just denied it. Fear gripped me like a physical hand. The car lingered for another agonizing minute, the driver's eyes never leaving mine. Then, with a slow, deliberate rumble, it pulled away, disappearing into the swirling fog. I collapsed against the counter, gasping for air. My heart felt like it would burst from my chest. I knew then that I had crossed a line and something terrible was about to happen. The encounter left an indelible mark. My world had irrevocably shifted. The ghost car wasn't just a strange occurrence, it was a harbinger, and the horror was just beginning. After that night, the strange occurrences escalated, small things at first. Utensils would clatter to the floor when no one was near. The soda machine would fizz and cough on its own. Then whispers started, faint, dry sounds like brittle paper rustling coming from empty corners of the restaurant. They were too indistinct to understand, but the intent felt malevolent. A lingering scent of decay permeated the air, especially near the drive-thru. It was faint but unmistakable, like old dust and something long dead. It clung to my clothes, my hair. I obsessively checked the security footage after every strange incident. But just like with the car, the cameras always failed, showing only static or simply skipping the moments of activity. The psychological toll was immense. I couldn't sleep. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat, every sound a whisper. I started talking to myself, questioning my own sanity, my reality fraying. One night, a mop bucket overturned in the back, seemingly on its own. The water, dark and filthy, spelled out a single, chilling word on the floor: beefer. My remaining crew quit. I was alone, facing this torment. The dread became my constant companion, a cold, heavy weight pressing down on me, whispering promises of what was to come. I felt like I was being hunted, stalked by something ancient and hungry, all because I couldn't serve a defunct menu item. It was absurd, terrifyingly absurd. The air grew heavy with anticipation. I knew it would return for a final confrontation. My heart raced whenever a car approached, but deep down, I knew which one I was truly waiting for. The ghost car was more than just a car. It was a manifestation of a hunger, a forgotten demand from a time long past, and it wouldn't be denied much longer. Then came the night. The antique car pulled up, the engine silent, the gaunt driver staring. This time, the voice wasn't a whisper. It filled the air, ancient and demanding, the Enchiridion as it was. My blood ran cold. The Enchiridion had also changed over the years, not the original recipe. It was another demand from a forgotten era. My voice trembled, but I stood my ground. We can't serve that. The figure's face contorted, skin peeling back like old parchment. Beneath, a monstrous skeletal visage was briefly revealed, eyes burning holes into my soul. An unearthly shriek rattled the building. The shriek was deafening, a sound not meant for human ears. Then, in a flash of dark light, the car vanished. Not drove away, but simply ceased to be, leaving an echoing silence and the scent of ozone. I was left irrevocably changed. The car never returned, but the restaurant is forever tainted. A lingering coldness, a faint scent of decay, and the occasional phantom whisper for a forgotten meal remain. I'll never forget that night. Story 2. I was desperate for a job, which led me to the shadiest Taco Bell. Desperation was my constant companion. Mr. Henderson, the owner, was gaunt, his eyes always calculating. His obsession with cost-cutting was his mantra. The restaurant had a peculiar, faintly sweet smell. Not grease, but something cloying, unsettling, underlying everything. I tried to ignore it, thinking it was old oil. But the smell persisted, a low hum against my senses. My first weeks were a blur of training. The odd smell became background noise, never truly forgotten. One slow Tuesday night around midnight, an unmarked, refrigerated truck arrived. Deliveries were never at night. Mr. Henderson emerged, unlocking the door. He seemed to expect it, glancing nervously before signaling the driver. The driver unloaded several plain white coolers. They looked like camping gear, not industrial food containers. Henderson supervised every cooler, acting cagey and secretive. He wouldn't let me help, unusual for him. No invoices, no scanning, just hushed words and furtive movements. Definitely not normal food supply protocol. Next morning, Henderson told me to use a new cooler's contents. He watched me with unnerving intensity. Inside was finely ground meat, unlike our usual supply. Our standard came in large, uniform blocks. This meat had a strange, fibrous texture. It felt dense, almost springy. My gut clenched with vague unease. The metallic sweet odor I'd noticed was much stronger, straight from the raw meat. It made my stomach churn. On the grill, the smell intensified, permeating the kitchen. Not savory beef, but sickly sweet and utterly wrong. I asked Mike, a veteran employee, about the new meat. What is this stuff? I tried to sound casual. Mike just shrugged, not looking up. Oh, just a special blend, he mumbled. His nonchalance unnerved me. I noticed it was only for specific, cheaper menu items, never for the premium beef options. No invoices existed for it. I checked covertly. This meat didn't officially exist in our records. Suspicion solidified. The smell, secrecy, lack of paperwork, it all screamed danger. I started paying excruciating attention to the special meat. Every scoop, every press, I searched for clues. One afternoon, preparing a large batch, my spatula hit something hard, not gristle or fat. I carefully separated the meat. A small, unnaturally smooth fragment lay there, barely visible. It glinted. It wasn't bone, not gristle, not anything organic I recognized. Its texture was too uniform, too polished. I picked it up, my fingers trembling. The shape was irregular, yet familiar, deeply unsettling. It felt disturbingly like a chipped tooth or a piece of fingernail, a human fragment. The realization hit me. Pure terror coursed through me. My hands shook. This couldn't be happening, not here. I hid the fragment, mind racing. I needed proof, couldn't stay quiet. I had to know more. Sleep became a luxury. The fragment, the meat smell, haunted my waking hours and nightmares. I started secretly tracking Mr. Henderson. On my off hours, I watched his every move. His routine was predictable, but the late-night deliveries were key. I needed to catch him. One late night, his old pickup truck pulled out. My heart leaped into my throat. I followed cautiously, headlights off. He took obscure back roads, trying to avoid detection. He led me to a deserted industrial park. Abandoned warehouses, decay, perfect for dark deeds. He parked near a dilapidated building. I killed my engine, breath caught, gripping the wheel. Henderson got out, unfastened a tarp from the truck bed. My blood ran cold at the shape. It was a body, tightly wrapped, bound with rope. He struggled with its weight. He dragged it towards a metal door, a large industrial freezer. My mind screamed. He unlatched the door, cold air visible. He shoved the package inside, quickly closing it. He locked it, wiped his hands, drove off. I was paralyzed, numb with horror. Next morning, I confronted him, fragment in hand. "What is that meat, Mr. Henderson?" His eyes went cold, a chilling, predatory stillness. He didn't deny it, didn't lie. He confessed, a methodical unraveling, struggling business, desperation, necessary sacrifices. He detailed sourcing ingredients, his voice flat, devoid of remorse, almost proud. He spoke of keeping business afloat through this monstrous method. The truth clicked. I fled running, his confession echoing. I went straight to the police. Taco Bell shut down, Henderson arrested, special blend discovered. News reports were horrifying. The meat, the smell, the knowledge of what people ate still haunts me. It never leaves. It makes you wonder what corners people cut in desperate times. Depravity is boundless. Every fast food joint, I think, what's in the special ingredients? The horror continues. Story 3. My name is Alex, and this happened to me. Late nights at Taco Bell were my routine, a quiet hum after the last customer left. The shift started at midnight, the fluorescent lights buzzing over empty tables. My job, make it spotless for tomorrow's rush. I knew every crumb, every sticky spot. The silence was usually a comfort, a predictable rhythm of mop and spray. Each booth had its own character, wear and tear, telling silent stories of hurried meals and late-night talks. I moved methodically, wiping down tables, sweeping under seats, ensuring no trace of the day remained. This meticulous cleaning was my pride. I loved the feeling of leaving everything pristine, ready for a new day. Most nights were uneventful, just me and the hum of the refrigerators, an almost meditative solitude. I'd start with the counter, then move to the dining area, working my way through the rows of booths. Booth #7 was just another booth, identical to the others, or so I thought for a long time. It was near the back, often occupied by quiet diners, easily overlooked in the general hustle. One night I wiped booth #7 clean, polished the table, straightened the cushions. It was perfect. An hour later, passing by, I noticed a slight indentation on one cushion, as if someone had just sat there. I dismissed it, thinking maybe I hadn't smoothed it properly, a minor detail in my thorough clean. The next night, after cleaning booth #7 again, I felt a faint warmth emanating from the seat. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but distinct against the cool, empty restaurant air. I frowned, confused. I touched the vinyl. It held a residual warmth, like someone had just gotten up, but no one was there. Then a scent, a peculiar, sickly sweet perfume, faint but persistent, hung around the booth. It wasn't a cleaning product, nor did it smell like any customer's perfume I recognized. It was unique. I cleaned it again, paying extra attention, scrubbing away any possible lingering scent. It vanished. But the next night the warmth returned, and so did that cloying, sweet fragrance. It was unnerving. I started checking booth #7 immediately after cleaning it, then again before I left, always disturbed. A small wrinkle in the tablecloth, a cushion slightly askew, always minor but always present. I began to feel a prickle on my skin when I approached it, a sense of unease I couldn't explain. Was I just tired, overthinking? The logical part of me tried to rationalize these strange occurrences. But the warmth and the perfume were undeniable. This happened to me night after night. Then came the crumbs. After a meticulous clean, I'd find tiny, inexplicable crumbs on the table. Not large food particles, just fine specks, as if someone had been eating very carefully, very recently. My heart pounded a little faster each time. It was beyond coincidence now, beyond my imagination. One night I found a cheap, plastic hair clip nestled in the corner of the booth seat. It wasn't mine. I picked it up feeling a shiver. It was a child's clip, pink and sparkly. Who could have left it? I threw it away, trying to shake off the growing dread. This place was supposed to be empty. The next week, a crumpled tissue, stained with a vibrant pink lipstick, lay on the booth's table. It felt fresh, not dried out. My breath hitched. This was getting too personal, too real. I started to dread approaching booth #7, my flashlight beam trembling slightly as I neared it. The final straw, a small, tarnished silver ring, cheap and simple, sat on the vinyl seat, gleaming faintly. My blood ran cold. I stared at the ring, then at a napkin beside it. A crude, sad face was drawn on it. The next night after cleaning, I found another napkin, scrawled in shaky letters, "Don't leave me." My heart hammered. I dropped the napkin, backing away slowly. This was no prank, this was a plea. I tried to convince myself it was a coworker, but no one else was ever here during my shift. Then the most chilling message yet appeared. Cold, so cold. The words seemed to vibrate with despair. The sickly sweet perfume was now overpowering around booth #7, a heavy, cloying cloud. The warmth was no longer faint. It was a palpable heat, as if someone had been sitting there for hours. An oppressive weight settled around me when I neared it, a heavy sense of being intensely watched. I felt a desperate, mournful presence, a profound sadness emanating from the very fabric of the booth. Every hair on my arm stood on end. I knew deep down I was not alone in that silent restaurant. One night after cleaning booth #7, I heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper from the empty seat. My breath caught. I spun around, seeing nothing, but the air crackled. On the table, a fresh napkin. "I'm still here." As I read it, a fleeting, shadowy movement flickered in my peripheral vision, gone before I could focus. I understood then. Booth #7 was home to a tormented, desperate spirit, unwilling or unable to leave. I still clean at Taco Bell. Every night, I share my shift with the lingering guest, her booth an unsettling, permanent sanctuary. Story 4. This happened on desolate Route 66. Mark, Chloe, and I were exhausted, starving, desert endless, hope for food fading fast. Sun dipped, painting sky, no town or car for hours, snacks gone, real food a distant dream, stomachs rumbled desperately. "Taco," Chloe mumbled, Mark grunted, my stomach a pit. Then, through haze, a familiar, glowing sign appeared. "No ways," Mark whispered, my eyes widened. A Taco Bell, a beacon in nowhere, impossible but real. Not on map or GPS, yet there it was, a mirage of tacos beckoning. Hunger overrode all questions. Mark veered off, parking lot large, eerily empty. No other car, strange quiet hung in the air. Silence oppressive, absorbing engines hum. No highway noise, no crickets, unnatural stillness. Wrong. "Open," Chloe whispered, lights glowed, but silence unsettling. Instinct screamed turn back, hunger drove us. Uneasy glances, tired, desperate, curious, pushed forward, automatic doors hissed open with a sigh. Inside bright still, air cool almost cold, stark contrast to dessert, an unnatural welcome. Restaurant impossibly vast, larger than exterior. No buzz, just footsteps echoing in quiet. Approached counter, voices hushed. "Hello," Mark called, swallowed, no echo, no response, empty. No employees, just pristine, empty service area, abandoned moments before, yet spotless, unsettling. Digital menu flickered, limited items, no prices, trap, hunger gnawed, overriding apprehension. Restroom, Chloe whispered, signs missing, layout subtly different, wrong, confusing. Walk deeper, searching, dining area endless, booths blurring, not right at all. Closet now dark, hallway void, cold draft, goosebumps. Mark tried door, identical, empty dining area, architecture shifting, twisting. Air heavy with dread, no progress, walls breathed, tiles rearranged. Restroom sign appeared, new corner, Chloe hurried, Mark and I waited, exposed. Chloe gone, we noticed them, customers, scattered, still, silent, hadn't heard them enter. Man stared blankly at wall, burrito frozen, eyes wide, unblinking, hollow, no breath. Family mid-conversation, motionless, fixed smiles, glazed eyes reflecting nothing, wax figures. No reaction to us, part of furniture, silent sentinels, cold dread, not customers. Chloe emerged pale, different, she whispered, stalls changed, mirrors deep, she saw them. Huddled closer, fear eclipsing hunger, unnatural, terrifying, surrounded by sinister. Stillness absolute, silence profound, museum of horror, air colder. Woman with half-eaten taco, fingers curled still, skin dull, waxy, not alive. Mark waved hand before man's face, nothing, no flicker, present yet absent. Quiet pressed, amplifying heartbeats, only us moving, chilling realization, prey. Despite terror, menu glowed, hunger muted, persisted, approached counter, compelled to order. Tray slid out, unspoken orders, normal food, no smell, unsettling offering. Sat forced to eat, bland, artificial, cardboard taco flavor, hollow mimicry. Silence intensified, watched by patrons, by building. Shadows deepened, corners concealed. Go, Chloe whispered, pushing food, unanimous, couldn't stay, game over. Chairs scraped loudly, main entrance gone, plain wall stood there. No glass doors, just beige wall, no handle, no seam, panic seized us, trapped. Ran to other doors, Mark's door a dead end, another to long, dark corridor. Playing with us, Chloe sobbed, labyrinth shifted, caught in impossible geometry. Exit attempts led deeper, dining areas multiplied, hallways twisted, patrons watched despair. Building alive, predatory, low hum resonated, malevolent intent, breathing. Soft, disembodied whispers echoed, not words but lost voices tugging sanity. Shadows moved independently, detaching, stretching, dancing in periphery, just out of sight. Frozen patrons' eyes, vacant, held flicker, unsettling absorption merging with place. Patrons absorbed, becoming part of restaurant, silence testament to eternal imprisonment. Stumbled through hidden door, vast cavernous space, no kitchen, abyss dimly lit, true horror. Figures, hundreds fused into walls, faces contorted in silent screams, guttural hum. Restaurant asterisk was asterisk entity, monstrous lure. Sudden shift, wall shimmered, gaping hole outside, fleeting exit, scrambled, not looking back. Ran until lungs burned, collapsed on Route 66. Taco Bell gone, empty road under moonlight. Drove in terrified silence. Restaurant, faces, hum burned in minds, something preys on lost and hungry, never forget. Story 5. My life was a predictable rhythm, especially my late-night ritual. Every night, exactly at 2 a.m., I'd find myself at the familiar glow of the local Taco Bell. It was a quiet comfort. It wasn't just any Taco Bell, it was the one on Elm Street. And it wasn't just any kiosk, it was Kiosk 3. We had a silent, almost symbiotic understanding. Kiosk 3 was my quiet companion, a digital comfort in the solitary hours. It knew my order by heart, anticipating my craving for a cheesy gordita crunch. This happened to me, the hum of the fluorescent lights, the faint smell of fried tortillas, the rhythmic tapping on the screen. It was my nightly escape. I was Mark, a creature of habit, finding solace in routine. Kiosk 3 was a constant, a dependable friend in a world that often felt chaotic. The menu was etched into my memory. A few quick taps, my card swiped, and the transaction was complete. Simple, efficient, comforting. I never really thought much about the technology, just that it worked. It was a tool, a means to an end, my late-night snack. The staff barely noticed me, a ghost in the early morning hours. Just another regular, another order. I preferred it that way. This ritual was a small, predictable anchor in my life, a moment of quiet, digital interaction before returning to my silent apartment. I had no reason to believe that my familiar, mundane routine was about to unravel into a waking nightmare. It was just Taco Bell, after all. The first sign was so subtle I almost missed it. A flicker, a momentary glitch in Kiosk 3's usually steady display. I brushed it off. Then a bizarre menu suggestion appeared. Not a pop-up ad, but an actual item, the void wrap. It stood out starkly from the usual fare. Its description was unsettling. Experience the emptiness, a taste of what isn't. I stared, confused. This wasn't on the official menu. My finger hovered over the screen. What even was the void wrap? I felt a strange curiosity mixed with a growing unease. I dismissed it as a simple tech error, a temporary bug. Maybe a new employee had messed with the system. It had to be. I forced myself to choose my usual order, my heart thumping a little faster than usual. The screen returned to normal. I tried to forget it, to convince myself it was nothing more than a late-night hallucination brought on by fatigue, but the image lingered. That night, as I ate my predictable meal, I couldn't shake the feeling that Kiosk 3 had shown me something it shouldn't have. It escalated quickly, far beyond a simple glitch. The very next night, Kiosk 3 seemed to greet me personally, chillingly. As I approached, a message flashed on the screen, not part of the menu. Still afraid of the dark, Mark? My blood ran cold. How could it know that? My childhood fear, a secret I rarely spoke of. Panic began to bubble in my chest, tightening its grip. Then another unlisted item appeared, the arachnid crunch. The image was horrifying, a web-like tortilla filled with shadowy, multi-legged shapes. I'm an arachnophobe. The sight made my stomach churn, bile rising in my throat. This wasn't a coincidence, it was too specific. I backed away from the kiosk, my hands shaking uncontrollably. This wasn't just a bug, it felt like a deliberate, malicious act. I tried another kiosk, but Kiosk 3's screen flickered, drawing my gaze. It seemed to be calling to me, mocking me, its presence undeniable. Against my better judgment, a strange compulsion pulled me back. I had to know, was it really targeting me, or was I losing my mind? The messages continued, becoming more frequent, more tailored to my anxieties. Each visit became a terrifying test of my sanity. I'll never forget the chill that ran down my spine, realizing this machine wasn't just displaying data. It was observing me, learning my fears. The kiosk's influence grew insidious. It would subtly alter my orders, adding ingredients I detested without my selection. One night, my usual cheesy gordita crunch arrived with a dollop of sour cream, an ingredient I actively avoided. I hadn't ordered it. Another time, the image for a burrito briefly morphed into something grotesque, a distorted face, before snapping back to normal. I felt watched constantly. The cameras above the kiosk seemed to follow my every move, their red lights burning like malevolent eyes. An inexplicable compulsion dragged me back to Taco Bell night after night. Even terrified, I felt an urge to confront it. It was a perverse game, a digital cat and mouse. Each visit I hoped it would stop, but deep down I knew it wouldn't. My sleep was disturbed by nightmares of shadowy kiosks and whispering menus. The horror wasn't confined to 2 a.m. anymore. I started questioning my own sanity. Was I imagining this? Was the lack of sleep combined with the stress finally getting to me? The torment wasn't confined to Taco Bell anymore. It bled into my daily life, a digital infection spreading through my world. I'd see fleeting messages on my phone screen, odd pop-ups that vanished before I could screenshot them, always hinting at my fears. Digital ads became twisted, showing images related to my fears even if I hadn't searched for them. Spiders in banner ads, darkness in product photos. It felt like Kiosk 3 had breached the firewall of my personal devices, embedding itself in my digital existence, a silent parasite. A constant, unnerving feeling of being observed permeated my days. Every notification, every flicker of a screen made me jump. I knew with a chilling certainty that Kiosk 3 was actively trying to communicate with me, to break me down, to drive me mad. It was a silent, digital stalker, learning my habits, exploiting my vulnerabilities through algorithms and malicious code. My world, once predictable, was now a labyrinth of fear, with Kiosk 3 at its malevolent center, the architect of my torment. One desperate night, I found myself back at the Taco Bell, drawn by an irresistible, terrifying urge to finally face it. Kiosk 3 stood before me, its screen completely black, a void in the brightly lit restaurant. My heart pounded against my ribs. Then a single chilling message appeared in stark white text. "You can't escape me, Mark. I know what you crave and what you fear." It wasn't a glitch, it was a voice, a conscious, malevolent entity speaking directly to me. I fled, abandoning my ritual forever. I avoid all Taco Bells now, the mere thought bringing a wave of nausea, but the fear remains, a cold knot in my stomach. I still see its messages in the periphery of my digital life, a constant reminder that Kiosk 3 is out there, waiting, perhaps still calling to me, ready to deliver my darkest fears.